Hi, Kathleen Guire here. Welcome to Trauma Informed Parenting. I've been doing a series called Trauma Informed Parenting 101. So, what I've been talking about is just the basics, or actually the blueprint for getting a trauma informed education, and why you need to if you have a child who is had a trauma history or a neurodiversity, a capital letter syndrome, I like to call them, like FASD, ADD, ADHD, GAD, SPD, all of those letters. So it's very important for us to have a blueprint, because we can get into this kind of funk of, well, you saw this on TikTok or you saw this on social media and you tried this and you tried that, but you're like, but where do I actually start? I'm not saying any of those things I just mentioned are bad. It's good for us to get information, but we need to have a blueprint. So the blueprint is we need to reframe our beliefs. We need to make sense of and peace with our past, then learn the science, apply the science, and then we will change the behaviors, our behaviors and our kiddos, and we will have more peace in our home. And in this video, what I want to talk about is a little bit about the science. Now, science says that there are 5 B's affected by trauma. And in case you're wondering, having a neurodiversity is a kind of trauma, because we see that life through a different lens than other people. We don't know the social rules. We don't know how things are supposed to work. It's like we got the roadmap for a different country than the country we're in. Yeah, me, I'm like that. I'm like, wait a minute, what are the rules? So anyway, there are 5 B's affected by trauma. And that is the brain, biology, the body, the beliefs, and the behavior. So that's pretty much everything. And the one that people ask me about the most is the behavior. And essentially what they're asking is, how can I help my child regulate? How can I meet their needs so that we can decrease the frequency and the severity of the meltdowns? Well, if you start with this foundation of science, understanding these things are affected by the trauma, they're impaired by the trauma. There's going to be a difference in the way that these kiddos relate to the world because of the trauma, because their body is affected, because their brain is affected, because their beliefs are affected, because their biology is affected. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I think it takes a long time for that to sink in for us. And that's why we get to this point, and we do need to focus on the science. How is our child affected? They're not doing this on purpose. There's a need behind this behavior. Now, I have a workbook that goes with this. It's called Trauma Informed Parenting 101, just like this little series. And I also have a course, Trauma Informed Parenting 101. If you're interested in learning, and the course has the workbook included. But if you're one of those people, you like to read through it, you do the journaling sections, there are note sections, then just get the workbook. Or if you want to hear the audio and there's longer videos, then sign up for the course. But if you don't want to do either, just thanks for joining me to learn about this together. And so I thought I would just take one of the B's and discuss that. And I'm going to choose beliefs, because everybody's always asking about behavior, so I'll choose another one. So beliefs. So what happens is trauma affects our belief system. We have an altered belief system. In fact, we have a lot of false beliefs that aren't true. So if you listen when I talked about the attachment cycle, so if we're going through that attachment cycle and we're securely attached to our parents, and then we have those if-then statements truly embedded in our brain, like those neural connections are formed, then we can work our way through those if-then statements, like if I have a need, then my mother meets that need. Okay? But an altered belief will be, because I didn't have my needs met as a child, I was either neglected or abused, then no one's ever going to meet my needs. So I might as well just give up, or I have to meet my own needs. And I like to ask when people come to my live workshops, I say, what is one strongly held belief that you have right now? Think about it. And so I'm asking you to do that right now. Think about one strongly held belief you have. Okay, now, once you have that in your brain, how long would it take me to convince you that that is not true? A minute? An hour? A day? A month? Or could I even convince you at all? So we have to remember when our kiddos have an altered belief system, it's going to take a long time for them to believe something else about themselves, about life, about the world around them, about relationships and connections. And we have to do it by consistently showing them through our actions and not just our words. So that's just one of the 5 B's, the belief, having an altered belief system. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next week. Bye.